my name is Derek Henry with XLEV8 Consulting. This video is designed to help you understand some of the ways that I've used macros in my past to do things more efficiently when it comes to managing folders and files. These macros are going to be available in the XLEV8 add-in, and if you want to take a test drive of any of them, you can do a free, fully functional 30-day trial, and you can access that at our website, www.xlevate.co, and go to the apps link. So let's get into this. Some of the reasons why you might find this helpful. First, you can save time on little things. In my experience, these tend to add up quickly, and just to give that some context, 12 minutes of each day over a work week adds up to an hour a week, and over a lifetime, an hour a week adds up to 6 months. So an example of this is by looking for things like a file that you need to use. So we'll show you how you can quickly do that. And you can also save time on big things so that you can use the time that you save on more value added activities. So an example, in seconds, you can create hundreds of subfolders or rename hundreds of files. You can leverage efforts over and over again. So let's say you set a template file and you put some default rules and logic in place. You can link things together so that all you're doing is updating a couple of inputs like dates, and everything else drives off of that. And then lastly, you can do things like you never thought you could, which will help you be more organized and even help others be organized as well. So let's look at a few examples. First, we're going to show you how you can create folders very, very quickly. So this is something that I've done in my past quite a bit. And just to show you the folder before, here's a folder that has nothing in it now, and we're going to create a ton of folders. First, we're going to create these 4 parent folders here, and they're all driven based on the first one. So this is 1 year, and in each of the subsequent years is going to link back to that. And then within those 4 files, we're going to have a weekly folder that starts on this first day in January, and then we just add 7 to it over time. So by just adding a couple of formulas, we can drag this down as far as we want, and we're going to leverage the first 2 columns here. So to run this, we're going to use the macro search box, and the keyboard shortcut to show that is Control-Shift-W, unless you've changed it. We're going to search for the create subfolders macro. So we just type a few letters. Here's what we want to run. We're going to press enter. And just like a lot of other macros in the add-in, it's looking for a very specific sheet, create_subfolders. When it does not find it, it will create it to be convenient for you. It even shows you the fields that are needed here, comments to guide those, and then full instructions off to the side. Now I've already filled this out, so all we need to do is copy and paste all of the data in those 2 columns. We're going to paste that right here. Then we filled out the sheet, so we run it again. And when we run it this time, it's going to create folders for every one of those items we wanted it to. Okay, so it says 212 were created. If we come back over here, you can see that each of these 4 parents were created with 52 items apiece underneath them. So saves a lot of time doing it compared to doing it the manual way. All right, so we looked at this one. Another one that you can quickly use is, let's say you've got this file and you want to open up the folder that contains it because there's other files in there that you need. So you can run the search box, search for the word folder, and open file folder is the macro we're looking for. And that's literally what it's going to do. It's going to open the folder that contains this file. Okay, so here's the file we're looking at, and here's a folder that contains it. So you might want to run that quickly. Another example is using the folder picker. Kind of the same thing. If we search for the word folder, we can run this, and just like all the other pickers in the add-in, it's going to show you some commands that you just have to type a letter or a number quickly, and it will run it for you. So like the first one, folder this file is saved to. That's going to run basically the same thing we just did. Or my documents, or general folder, basically just launching File Explorer or the desktop. Or you can run 1 through 0, and that's going to let you save 10 custom folders that you access frequently. Like this first one right here, I access that one all the time. So if I press 1 enter, it's going to launch the File Explorer with this folder right here. Okay, so that one is helpful as well. Now let's say you want to search for a folder. There's a folder search. Okay, so this one we're looking for, search folders, we run that. Here's the parent it's going to search underneath. So you can have that be your C drive or your documents or wherever else that has a lot of the folders you tend to manage. If you change this, you can just hit refresh over here. And let's say we want to search for the word blog. Okay, so I type that in, it shows me hits that match that underneath, again, this folder. And whether it's this top one or one of the others, we just press enter, and there you go, that's the folder we're looking for. So a lot of ways to help you manage and find quickly the folders you're looking for. Same kind of thing works with files. So with files, let's say we have a directory like this one, with a whole bunch of files. And let's say we've downloaded all these files from a website. You know, we run a report, change one parameter at a time, maybe a brand or location or something. We have all this data we're trying to aggregate, right? And there's no other way to get it automatically. So we end up with all these files and we want to rename those and maybe pull those in using a macro of some sort. So here's the files we've got, right? We want to list those out. So one way to do that is to come over here to, I'm going to copy this. This is the folder path that contains all those files. We're going to copy that to the clipboard. And then we're going to run a macro called list directory contents. And when we do that, whatever's in a clipboard is going to be used as a default value here, or you can just copy this from File Explorer. And when you run that, it creates a new sheet that lists out all the files that are in there. Okay? So if you need to use those files for whatever reason, to rename them or for some other process, this will export everything underneath that folder. So we looked at this one, and the idea behind using that is maybe you need to rename those. So if you want to rename all these files very quickly, you can copy them, and then you're going to run the macro bulk file rename. And I've already run that once, and we've got the folder path. Here's those files we just copied. Here's what we want to name them to. Okay, so this is all linked with the prefix, and then the suffix is just the either current year week date or the prior year week date or prior week, whatever the case is. So this can all be formula driven. And then if you want to rename what's in column B to column C, you just run this again, bulk file rename. It's going to prompt you because this is kind of a major thing. You know, you don't want to be doing this without thinking it through. So we'll confirm that. And if we come back over here, you'll see that all those files were renamed very quickly. I've used this one a lot when I'm kind of pulling together files and different things, so that can be helpful. Now, if you want to search for them very quickly, okay, just like with the folders a moment ago, you can run the search files, search recent files macro. And let's say we want to look for something like a tracker, or we want to look through something else. Okay, you just start typing, and it's going to come to the file that you want. This is actually the file that we're in right now, so we probably don't want to launch that one. It's already open, but you get the point. Very quickly, with just a couple of characters, you can open up a file that you're looking for. Now, when it comes to sheets, one of the things I've done very often is gotten a file that had a whole bunch of sheets in it I downloaded, and it had names that were not necessarily as descriptive as we wanted, like, you know, sheet 6, 7, 8, 9, just like this. And we wanted to rename those. Either we already had a list that we knew we were going to get, or the sheet itself contained a cell name at the top left or some other place. So you can take either approach. Maybe it's hard-coded, or these are references, or you can indicate the cell within the sheet you want to rename that has the new sheet name. Either of those approaches work. So to run this, we're going to run the macro bulk sheet rename. Okay, and it's going to take what's in this sheet, and remember that I've already set this up. Otherwise, you'd want to run this first, kind of set it up, and then run it again. But it's already been set up, so when we run this, it literally renames all these sheets. So off to the side here, you see these 12 sheets that were renamed. Okay, so that's really helpful. Okay, now one other thing that you can do with sheets that can, again, also be helpful. A lot of times sheets are exported in a file, or maybe just aggregated them over time, and they're not really sorted by alphabet. So one other one you can run is sort worksheets. And when you run this, you can decide whether it's ascending or descending order. So let's pick ascending. Okay, takes a moment to run because there's a lot of sheets in the file. And there you go. It put the numeric ones first, and then it put everything in the order that we wanted it to. Okay, so that one can be helpful if you need to reorder the sheets. Maybe you've renamed them, then you sort them. And then lastly, let's say you want to search those sheets. So just like with folders and files, let's say we want to look through the directory content sheet. We're going to try and find that. So one way we can run that is with the sheet picker. This has all different sheet types of things, and in option J, we'll search through them. So let's say we want to go to this sheet. We just type a couple of characters and press the arrow down, and we can jump to it. So you can get anywhere in the file by using that or some of the other options on the sheet picker right here. So if I want to go back to the first sheet, press F. So it makes it very easy to navigate your files. These were just some of the ways that I've used macros to help me keep focused on what I'm doing and automate a lot of the repetitive tasks of setting stuff up, but also searching, because people on average spend a lot of time searching for what they're trying to do. These are just some ways that have helped me. Hopefully you found this helpful. Now, to use these in the same way I do, here is a link where you can download the set and try it out for yourself. So once you go in there, you're going to register for a license. You can download the file. You're going to get a zip file that has several different add-in files for Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and then there will be an Open Me First Excel file. So open that and then follow the instructions and then save lots of time. Thank you for your time and enjoy the add-in.